Hi, Levi, I'm curious. You mentioned earlier that you did grow up in a Christian family, but I'm curious how you became drawn to this movement in general, Life in Messiah, and also how you got your position as director specifically.
Well, how I became drawn to Life in Messiah was a visit to Israel. I wasn't looking to be doing what I'm doing now, but I went to Israel, and as you know, Israel's a pretty moving place. We would visit these different historical landmarks, biblical landmarks. We would open up our Bibles and read, and our guide at the time would say, "You're standing right where this happened," and it was just amazing. And so my wife and I both came back from this journey expecting to cross Israel off the list and move on to the next adventure. And that's when we were connected with Life in Messiah, and they said, "Why don't you come back with us on the next summer, but this time on more than a tour, more than a place where you're visiting these dead stones, but come back with us and talk to the living stones. Talk to the Jewish people, get to meet them, and share what you
Life in
believe."
Messiah had organized that trip.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So my wife and I took a month off of work. This was many summers ago. And we talked to Israelis from north to south, secular Israelis, religious Israelis, and everywhere in between. And at the end of that trip, my wife and I both knew that God was calling us to reach Jewish people with the gospel. We had a burden that we did not ask for, and we just didn't know what the next step was. But we both had this sense of we desperately want to love Jewish people. We desperately want to share with them that their Messiah has come. And within 6 months of that trip, we had quit our jobs and moved to Chicago from northern Indiana, South Bend area.
Not too far.
Not too far, about 2 hours. And we gave up our full-time jobs and we said, "I'm not sure how things are going to be provided for, but here we go."
So you were not offered at the time a job here yet.
So
You quit your job before you had a position.
Well, here's the thing about nonprofits, especially nonprofits like Life in Messiah. Very rarely is anyone paying you any kind of a salary. That comes from other people, friends, strangers who really believe in what you're doing. So just as a nonprofit is supported by those who believe in the mission of the nonprofit, so folks like my wife and I and other staff of Life in Messiah are supported in prayer and in finances by other believers who really have a heart for what they're doing. And so for us, it was, okay, God, you've got to raise up these resources from somewhere, but we're following your lead here. And Jacob, I could tell you miraculous story after miraculous story about God's provisions and him leading the way. And we got our training that we needed. We just understanding about the Jewish community. Who are the Jewish people? We had no idea. Even though my best friend was Jewish, Jesus, I had no idea about the Jewish community. And so the training that we received at Moody Bible Institute in the Jewish Studies program gave us a much better understanding about the people that God was calling us to. And that was over a decade ago now. And
whom did you take over the directorate from?
So about 5 years ago is when I became the executive director, and the gentleman who filled the seat for 29 years before me was Wes Tabor. And believe it or not, Life in Messiah has been in existence for 136 years. I'm only the 10th executive director in that time.
Did he train you?
Absolutely. Yeah, Wes is one of my life mentors. And it's because of his mentorship and example in life, one of the reasons I am who I am today. Yeah, it's a great question.